Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. Look, I'm opening this up to record for a specific reason, but I'll start by giving shouts out to MLR for coming through in the Cash App 2 times. From the bottom of my black heart and from the depths of my black mind, thank you, bro. I mean that. Also, got some news. Looks like my son is about to literally get on a pair of wings and join SYSBM. He is in discussion with a traditional lady in a traditional country. It's on the Asian continent. I won't say exactly where. Many of them are Muslim. He's going to meet the family. Might tie the knot before I can get out there myself. So it's possible my next vacation might be to meet a daughter-in-law. I want to go and do my vetting, but because he is an adult male, he's allowed to vet him for himself. Do I think he knows enough to do it? No, not yet, but that ain't his fault. I mean, he was born when he was born. It's not his job to be older or younger than what he is. But he's been exposed to this content, red pill awareness, black manosphere for a while. And he knows what's up for the most part. And chip off the old blocks. I say that because it's apparently is multi-generational. He's 2 years younger than she is. I think it's a good thing. For us, I think it's a good thing. Because we, in our family, I think we have inherited something that causes us to prefer women our age or older. My dad's younger. I was younger, still am younger than my second ex-wife. My brother's younger than his wife. So while out for a stroll this beautiful morning in Medina, figured I'd tell you all this about Van Hunt. Shouts out to Accountability Commentary, the Blackout Channel. Let me tell y'all, in his case, Accountability Commentary pointed out how Halle Berry did the reach back. I want you all to know something about the reach back. It's very important that you understand this about the reach back. You have to know this about it. The reach back is not it's not accidental. It's not a gamble until we make it one. The reach back is something that they intentionally set up. Now, I don't know at what age they become aware that they're doing it, and I don't care. By the time they're old enough to start doing the reach back, they've been participating in the conspiracy to maintain the setup of the possibility. And that's why I call this the intentionality of the reach back, the intentionality of the pool of Van Hunts and stepdads. Most of us are the reach back dude. Most of us are Van Hunt and stepdads. Even if we're not in practice, most of us are ranked equally to them in the eyes of Western women. So you don't have to behave like one. You can show that you ain't that dude. If they don't want you to get any better in life out of life than that, they are all in on it. So that not only are you limited to the reach back, you can't get anything else. And that's not your fault. You sit up here thinking, how come they only come to me when it's this, when there's something that's ruining things? Sorry for the engine noise. Why do they only come to me when, uh, for instance, she got kids, she fat, she old, and a lot of dudes don't have kids. Most single black men ain't got kids. I dare say that more married black men than we know don't have kids. They just don't know. And imagine being a man, you married, you got all these kids, you think, do a DNA test, find out ain't not a single solitary one of them yours. I see what that man in Jamaica did, what he did to that woman. I don't have a moral qualm against that. I remember one scholar of our religion saying that in cases like this, if either one gets caught committing adultery and the other spouse kills them, they're not liable in a court for that. Now, that's probably subject to interpretation of different schools of thought, different schools of jurisprudence that we have. But I tend to favor that. In a society like here, not where I'm living now, I mean, but society where you live, oh God, yeah. You better beat the living crap out of her for that. You better not let her off the hook. Now, if she messed around and did this to you, that is clear cut because she can't marry more than one. If you were laying down with someone else and she caught you, the question would be, one, why was she spying on you? And number two, does she know that y'all ain't married? So there is a difference there. But hell, if you were husband cheating, committing adultery, and she knows that it's adultery and she does you in, okay, how's she to blame for that? Except for the fact that they don't want inexperienced men. And that's why I don't necessarily respect what they say they want anyway. What we want is a negative. That means something that they don't do. And what they need to learn, they can learn fairly easily. What they want from us is to acquire an abundance of the same experience they're going to deny most men. So I actually support double standards only because they insist on them and will say it's biological and they can't help it. And then you got these so-called dating roaches that'll say the same thing. She's wired this way. She can't help it. Well, screw her then. We're out here sexually rewarding childish behavior. The reach back is only a part of that. However, the reach back is a mass deception. It is a conspiracy. They're in on it. They're introduced to it in simple terms when they're young. That's why they start off unaware. But at some point they become aware of it, and I don't feel a guck at what age it is. They're aware, they are participating, they know what the hell it's leading to. Fit the guck out my face with that sure bit. And don't make excuses. You know, they don't know, I realized early on, they don't know what to do when you are in fact holding them accountable. They don't know what to do about that. I mean, when you hold them to adult standards of accountability, like, look, you an adult, you can conceive. Get your ignorant behind up to par, morally speaking, behaviorally speaking. They don't know what to do about that. What they want to do is say, well, I'm a woman. They want to use it as an excuse to be a child when it's time to be accountable, but to be an adult when it's time for rights. And so they do that to not be questionable about what they've done, but to not be treated like kids when privileges and rights are distributed. The reach back is nothing other than that. But they've lied about it too. They have lied about the reach back. Because when I tell you that it's intentional, they're going to turn around and say, it's not something we're intentionally doing. Hell, I don't even know what the reach back is. Okay, see, now they're lying. Maybe in their teens, they're not quite sure to reach back. But that's when they can understand the concept, even if they're not aware of it. They could understand that if you bring it up to them. But when it comes down to the 20s, they know what the hell the reach back is. Because they're already sitting up and saying, how can I get one guy's genes, that serial baby daddy over there, How do I get his genes? Well, actually, that part's easy. But how do I get this genetically inferior guy, in my view, to provide for and raise the offspring of the genetically superior guy over there, who I know I'm gonna let smash because I just have to. Because he done already smashed a bunch of other chicks. And I can look at him and tell that the other chicks will smash him. So I'm gonna do the same thing. And I'm not even gonna bother him for all the resources for the baby because, well, you know, he's a breeder. He's not a feeder. He's a player. He's not the payer. He's the superior. He doesn't have to take account. They see it that way, that if he's genetically superior as they view it, he doesn't have to pay and be accountable. So he doesn't have to be held to the responsibilities. So what I wanted you guys to understand is that it's all a setup. It's a conspiracy, and they're lying if they tell you it's not. A young chick may not be lying, but she may really just be unaware. But when the older ones, let's say 20s, start, especially college, I'm telling you, a junior co-ed in a college or university knows this is intentional. She knows that. They've had conversations. Mom and dad ain't in the next room. They can say what the walk they want to on the phone, and they just giving each other even more game. Because see, college is where they wild out and do stuff even their mama wouldn't approve of. It could be their mom that taught them these games. They turn around and shave more with each other in those situations. And they're cool with that. You know, most of us are not far from being Van Hunt, and it's by deception. Most of us are not far from, a lot of us are not far from being stepdads, and it's not your fault that you're close to that. Now, if you're listening to this and you have been for a while, it would be if you settled for that. But the fact that you've been designated as such, that's not your fault. You didn't do that to yourself. You didn't sit up and say, well, you know, I only deserve to be a stepdad. You didn't say that. You didn't sit up and say, well, you know, I only deserve an older woman if I don't find them to be attractive. That's not something you said. That's something they pretty much decided for you. You are not to blame for that. You didn't do that. They did. They did it collectively. They did it proudly. They did it with laughter. And while they're sitting up and plotting and planning in these hair salons and on their group chats, they hold it against you that you don't know what they're plotting and planning. Like, you give them the benefit of the doubt, and they hold that against you. They see you as dumb and stupid and deserving because you're not psychic and a mind reader. And they will tell you this, and when they tell you this, the reason they're telling you this later on is when they tell you this, when you're completely washed up and you've really gotten your behind whooped. They start to tell you this later on when they've used everything up, when they've had you about to go crazy. Maybe when you back them into a corner and say, explain yourself. Then they will sit up and say, I can't believe how dumb you are, how easy you made it to use you. You're not a child. They'll say this for one reason. They don't say that so that you can protect yourself from other bad women. They say that so that you will protect yourself from women that don't mean you any harm. You'll have your shield and your guard up with other women. Because as far as they see it, once you had that shield up and that guard up, the women that want to do you wrong, they're going to blame you for having a shield and a guard up and act indignant because they weren't that kind of woman. But they're not going to try that anymore. They're doing that sort of when it comes to the good women. You can't trust them. And that's so that the good women that won't harm you won't get anything out of any man, that they'll get less out of men in general. They're not only at war with you, as I've told you, And I mean a war of deception, because war is deception. They're not just in a war of deception against you, they're in a war of deception even against the women that don't want to harm you. They don't like those women. They don't respect those women. They see those women as being problematic. They see those women as deserving of less because of the harm they don't want to do to you. And so you have to keep this in mind. They can't stand to see them get anything decent. It's hatred. Hatred of two things. Hatred of you because you might actually enjoy busting in between their thighs. And hatred of women that don't hate you because they don't hate you. So yeah, when it comes down to Van Hunts and stepdads and the recipients of the reach back, most of us have already been designated as that and deserving of that and only that and nothing else. And that's not your fault. Don't accept it. But if that's what you keep getting offered, do not for 1 second blame yourself. Do not accept that that's what you are and that that's what you're worth. But also do not for 1 second accept that reach back, and don't accept blame for being designated as such either. You can deny something people keep offering you. You can do that. You're allowed to deny something that people just keep on coming to you and offering you. But then also reject the blame for being offered this again and again and again. You have every right to, and you should. I hope that what I've said has been a benefit and that it helps you out. Thank you for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum, and black heterosexual non-select male power just because they don't like it, and black patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day. Thank you again for flying with me on Jet Black Airways, where jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with me until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.